call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Wake the room! Luyu! Rex! Pam Ray! Naomi! Afasiana! Babbler! Monarch Soul! Jojo! Gray Eyes! Fill my eyes! Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain, or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shit, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press. Put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain. Like you came in one shape, you won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown and the soft don't dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in your ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, Wednesday breaks, parts in the park, sink down the spine, half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light in the yard. A seduction walks soft through the smoke, silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves in a craft and selling up the ache. Gets a voice, pain stands up street and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the devil gives way, when the masses sink but the pulse says pray. Echoes in the dark, go hunt the fear, that thing with no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it, say it. Fill my eyes with poetry, don't water it down. Let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a bruise, dressed smart. And rhythm and rhyme puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown and the soft don't dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift from a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts from the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets, some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing! This ain't filler for the dead space, no. This is a pulse with a pen, this is blood with a nickel. This is breath to the backbone, ink with the crown. Live mics, live nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom. The line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark. A room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown and the soft don't dim. slips past polite. We tell the truth. L&P, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello world, happy Monday. You're listening to the Garden of Enlightenment. We are a group on a poetry site called allpoetry.com, and we have anthologies available on amazon.com, so feel free to check those out as they help support these shows. That said, tonight's show is based on, front page picks as well as open poetry. So, yeah, we're going to get to it. That said, I don't know if there's anybody in the studio at the moment. Yes, Lord Yvonne and our host, Lee Wildup, hostess, Lee Wildup. Hello, you both.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Laurent.
Well, hello, you. Hello, Gray.
How
I
are
will
you?
stay on with you as long as I can because the internet here is really bad.
Well, you're on. That's
Well,
great.
you tell it
No,
to behave yourself,
I'm happy.
behave itself.
That's probably why it keeps going off because I don't behave.
Yeah.
So I am ready to hear the poems and comments. I can't read, but I can comment, and I enjoy listening to both of you men read poetry. What more could a woman ask than for men to read poetry to them?
Well, I enjoy Gray as well, but, if I had my choice, I'd rather listen to you.
Well, he could always act like he's me and talk at a higher voice more.
No, I can't.
Oh, good to be here.
All
Hi,
right. Well,
Jojo.
I posted the first poem. If you would mind giving that a read, please, Lauren, that would be wonderful.
All right. Excuse me. This would be Neon Puddles and Paper Roofs by Cedar Chapman. The second hand strikes harder with anticipation, like a drumstick rat-a-tat-tatting on the snare line of a summer parade. 7 pounds of shadow have settled beneath my eyes, a residue of carpet dust and wingtip shoes, grinding through hump day, while spreadsheets and emails take turns chopping at my throat. Finally, I'll have parole from this cubicle cage, its gray corduroy walls clenching tight like a lockjaw. I'll baptize the weak sins in pints of foamy gold, that liquid sermon of sunlit wheat fortified with memories of teenage lakes, charred meat, and the throttle of single-stroke motorbikes. I'll be swiveling on a bar stool like an 80s rock LP, firing a missile barrage of banter at my mates, mouthful of poutine, spewing shrapnel of potato and gravy as everyone starts to shout louder. Both my cardiologist and my mom will have heart attacks. Across the bar, a rainbow of green, blue, and brown eyes might glance our way. Or so we convince ourselves through our hazy breath, some smiling, others twirling blonde hair or biting painted nails. We buy them drinks, cash leaking from our wallets like rain through a paper roof. But none of it would matter, because come next week, around the water cooler would still be legends, down half a paycheck with a handful of fake names and phone numbers. Let's start the festival and burn loud until the music fades. We'll stumble home through dark alleys, lit only by the broken moon, soaking our socks in neon puddles our jackets thin against the wind, each step already half forgetting who we tried to be and who we will revert back to come Monday morning. End poem.
Fantastic read, Lauren. And I really liked the write. It was descriptive. It was engaging. You know, it's totally palpable. You can imagine yourself in his shoes as he goes through his write. You know, from the bar to stumbling home, and then finally who we will revert to be come Monday morning. Um, I really liked it. You know, I like the whole tonality of the poem. It's you know, it's party, 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 and then it's like, oh, come down. Um, Such is life, though, and that's the way it works. So I thought it was an excellent write by Cedar Chapman here. Fantastic read by you, Lawrence. Louis Wilder, what did you think?
You know, this just, okay, for one thing, I really enjoyed his descriptions, his metaphors. They were so good that you could just visualize everything, the weight of the eyelids, the rat-a-tat-tat. You know, then he goes into the past, or he starts talking about the 1980s, you know, when you would go out, everybody would go out and party. And, you know, it's weird now because, you know, when we were growing up, we had our guy friends and, you know, girlfriends with us. And, but when we went to the bar, you know, it's just funny because we would, girls would dance with guys, no offense, and girls with girls or guys with guys. I'm not used to the new party scene where everybody just jumps up and down and dances by themselves. You know, you can do that at home in your bedroom or the living room. But, you know, his description about, you know, who you turn into on payday, that just made me think of, you know, when you get paid and you go out and enjoy yourself, you know, and then he talks about the person that you present yourselves to women or men, and you know that cover up of who you are. And then of course, like, you know, you're walking home and he said the jackets are thin because you don't really, you're not cold when you first go in there, but when you leave you are. And then he talks about reverting back to who they were come Monday morning. Well, you know, you've got to work and got to put that tie on that shirt, and you know, instead of grabbing another beer or six pack, it's a cup of coffee. So I just love that poem. And great read,
Wilder.
Laurent.
Thank you, thank you. And Lawrence, what did you think?
Cedar has done his normally excellent work. Neon Puddles and Paper Roofs is an appealing title. He starts us off waiting for the weekend to begin. The second hand strikes harder with anticipation, as he says. I like the description, 7 pounds of shadow have settled beneath my eyes. It's quite a visual, but the residue of carpet dust and wingtip shoes grinding through hump day really speaks to me. And, you know, he as he says, finally I'll parole from this cubicle cage, and he's going to baptize the weak sins in pints of foamy gold, which is a very accepted, staid way at a certain age, of course, of relaxing, but immediately moves into the past, fortified with memories of teenage lakes, charred meat, and the throttle of single-stroke motorbikes. Yeah, and from that moment on, his reminiscences are very appealing. I won't take up more time to read more of it. I already did. But I really like what he did with this by going into the past to show how he used to celebrate almost as a substitution for what he isn't doing now. Nice job.
Fantastic comment, Lawrence. And about the half a paycheck left over, I mean, he did better than me because I always had no money at the end of the weekend. 500
Oh,
bucks, poof, gone.
shame on you, Craig.
Yeah,
How
I
did
was a
you
big
eat
spender
with
on
no?
payday.
What were you eating? I hope you weren't digging in trash cans. That's terrible.
No, no. It was You know,
Can macaroni and cheese in a can.
yeah, exactly. Bologna sandwich with
Blech.
macaroni and cheese. You know.
Well, what we used to eat when we were in college was dry ramen. Because you eat what you can afford. But that was because I was studying, not out drinking and buying drinks for girls. Ray, I shame on you. I gotta have
Well,
some money in my bank come Monday morning.
no, I was always broke Monday morning, but I didn't go out every weekend. So, the weeks that I didn't go out, I always had money for the next week. So,
Oh,
anyway, yeah, it was a great read and a fantastic write. Thanks so much for sharing, Cedar Chapman. But that said, I need to get to late night poets here. We have a write by Bev Smith, and posted it to the group. It is called Pigeon Lark.
hmm.
You hide well amid my birdsong heart. A downy's fluff disguise lays abandoned. A late frost come early, rears no young. And though I tell you winter's white, but favors your curves best, you still starve for a warmth only summer gives. And I fear what you will no longer seek when I tell you the sun, it no longer exists. End poem. And Louis Wildup, what did you think?
Well, I like his imagination with the dove, and with somebody obviously he's attracted to the dove curve, and sometimes it's very difficult to tell somebody the truth because they're not going to accept it or not take it very well. So I enjoyed the poem and good read, Craig.
Thank you. And Lawrence Yvonne, what did you think?
Pigeon Lark is a graceful little poem that really touches you. You hide well amid my birdsong heart. The late frost and the winter's white means starvation for a warmth only summer can give you. And it seems to me that summer is a time with a certain light, a certain air. And when I tell you the sun no longer exists, it's that metaphor for, I think, a relationship that no longer exists or something of that nature. Her words are carefully chosen in this, and she does an excellent job.
Beautifully said, Lauren. Thank you so much. Yeah, to me it reads like somebody's being left by their lover because they're always out roving, always out seeking the next thing. And so now there's no sun to come back to because that sun has gone away. And, you'll never enjoy the light that sun or that relationship gave you. Yeah, I thought it was a beautiful write by Bev Smith. Pleasure to read that. Alrighty, I'm gonna get the next poem here. This is a poem by Justin D. Wolf, and if you wouldn't mind giving us a read, please, Lawrence, once I post it here.
Sure.
There we go.
A Starting Point by Justin DeWolf. My room at that time was quite simple. I owned a record player, some vinyl. I had one picture on a square end table. I had no bed, just an orange velvet futon, an original copy of Frankenstein from 1931, red. I would mix up a batch of sangria, lemon, blood oranges, pineapple, red wine from some coastal town, play my acoustic guitar on the apartment patio, laugh. It was my fruit fly era of watercolor paintings. I would just paint them when they drank well, I would just paint them when they drank spilt wine, tuna fish sandwiches, green sour apples, shag carpet, good times, end poem.
Fantastic read, Lawrence. Luyuelda, what did you think? Oh, she's gone. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed that. You know, you can feel the ambiance of the poem. Um, really sets it. You know, sets the mood of it with the orange velvet futon and an original copy of Frankenstein from 1931. And then you know you drink them, make some sangria. Um, you know, it was my fruit fly era of watercolor paintings. I would just paint them when they drank spilt wine. So I mean, he's picking up fruit flies in his paintbrush and just making them part of the painting as he went. So I thought it was good. What did you think, Lauren?
I'll second what you said. I thought the fruit fly era watercolor paintings was a great line. But I love the way he gets the colors in here. The orange velvet futon, the red original copy of Frankenstein, and I've owned actually a copy of that. It was a red leather cover, really special when it comes bound that way. But the sangria, the lemon, the blood oranges, pineapple, the red wine, the tuna, the green sour apples, the shag carpet, all those, they're all colors of the 70s, I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, great piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much. Alrighty, so I'm gonna grab the next poem here. And I'll place this to the board once I get to it. There we go. All right. All right. So up next we have a poem called "Her" by the Red with Marin. Moraine. I know we'll post this to the group. Weird. I'm getting an echo of my voice. Alrighty. So Red with Moraine. Her. The bartender shines a glass, and like the beast in his tower, he falls into despair as beauty whispers through a lowball glass. He stirs an old fashioned, mixing in the glimpse of a warm sunset and a pop of cherry red, like the shade on her lips with a smile. As she says hello on the day they met, next up, a classic martini, gin, and dry vermouth with a lemon twist, a portrait of her, splash of winter, hint of spring. A new ticket calls pink champagne. He pops open the bottle. His new customer smiles. Something about her charm turns back the clock. As the music fades and the lights go dim, he quotes, "Of all the gin joints in all the towns, in all the world, she walks into mine." End poem. The author's notes say, "When everything reminds you of someone." And Lauren, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say when you are deeply in love with someone and they may not be around, or you may not no longer see them, but somebody comes in and that beautiful person has hair just like the person that you love, or has a nose that reminds you of someone, or facial features, or a voice, and it doesn't matter what it is, reminds you of that person, and the end fits it perfectly, of course. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. Nicely done.
I agree. Thanks so much, Lauren. And Agrisman, you need to click the link above in Late Night Poets called StreamYard. Not that you can hear me, I guess, but yeah, um, fantastic comment, Lauren. All right. Uh, Red with Moraine. Yeah, you read it, right, Lauren? I apologize. Kind of got screwed up there. Or did I? I did.
No, you read it. You read it.
Yeah, okay. Um, Yeah, it was great. Trying to remember her name. Red with Moraine. So yeah, it was nicely done.
Could be Read
It,
with me, Rain. Read with me, Rain.
oh, Read with Me Rain. Yeah, true enough. Exactly. I think you got it right for sure. Um, I've never heard the name Moraine before, but yeah, Me Rain sounds better. Good point out, Lawrence. Yeah, but that was great. Me Rain. Excellent, right? But yeah, um, like you said, some people just remind you of a love, that you had, and whether it's their hair, their chin, whatever it is that reminds you, takes you back to a time and place that is fond to the heart and remembrance. So uh, I thought it was great. And have I asked you, Lauren, what you thought? I'm sorry. I'll go ahead today.
Yeah, no, I did. I
Okay,
gave my
thank you.
comment.
Alrighty, I appreciate that. Alrighty, so I'm going to post the next poem here. And this is by Ryan Hunt. I'll post this to the group, and can you read it when you see it, please, Lauren?
All right. Prom turned the
Uh,
tide. When you went away to live in Washington State after that visit to the Kaiser mental health provider, was I to blame for the fire burning down the house? The car door closed and it drove away with you in it. You were gone. Your brothers left with me, their tears washing bedtime stories from the pages I read at night when falling to sleep was harder. I remembered being in Chiang Mai, reading in one room with your two brothers on their own beds in the sticky night, Gecko and the frog singing to the rhythm of the story. And you in the room across the landing top, wanting to be big enough to be alone, yet still afraid enough that the doors to both rooms need to remain open all night long, so the frogs and geckos could sleep in the pond outside too. Those weekends you came back to visit, and we would come to the airport, all three of us together, and wait outside security, straining to see your face in the crowd of the passengers leaving the terminal. But you never looked at me once as you walked straight ahead, calling your brothers to your side. Forgotten and silenced, I was glad to have you home. Then you were dropped off on the curb with your brothers, gone for a turn around the sun, though the moon skipped ahead, left on the curb with your guitar case, all your clothes and luggage and boxes. Your brother broke the news you were moving home. Our words were firecrackers and hot sauce for months. The neighbors didn't call the cops from our shouting. Then peace, found in the kitchen, started to last in the night and the day and the story time you didn't hear anymore. You kept to your room, but soon we were talking, guiding you on the phone across the trains from one side of the bay to the next with your bike, again and again. Still, you missed your connection, shifting from BART to Caltrain, Berkeley to Palo Alto, and back again. It was in the freedom and trust silence turned once more to hello, before goodbyes, and the stories started again. Before dawn, sun and sun would share the rising twilight. One night with the police sirens and train whistles from the tracks down the block, you asked me to help you get a tux for prom. When we found your tux on sale at Macy's in Walnut Creek, that night changed your life and mine. Now we talk, and time isn't as dense as it was. Launched into the world, you are grown, and you are old and young, at the same time. And the pile of your stuff on the curb has gone somewhere it can play guitar, in the garage or under the stars on the beach. You're a man now, and we can talk like men about tech and money and love and life. You're a man now, yet I still remember carrying you on my shoulders. End poem.
Beautiful read, Lawrence. And wow, what a heart wrenching poem, but so beautiful at the same time. Um, you know, when you have a child that's going through tough times, you go through those tough times with them because you love them, and it's your love that gets them through those tough times and able to see the other side, the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. Uh, so being a parent is never easy. That's what I got out of this. This is a child and a young man growing out of home and moving on. But it's the I forget where it is here. My goodness. Anyway, it's a palpable rate. You can feel all this. You can see all of it. When we found your tux on sale at Macy's in Walnut Creek that night, changed your life and mine. Now we talk, and time isn't as dense as it was because it just flies by as you're, you know, speaking and talking instead of just, uh, rel- I want to say reveling or regaling uh, your distance. Um, you've got connection now, so time is easier. You are a man now, yet I still remember carrying you on my shoulders. Very good, right? Strong, emotional, and visceral, right? So excellent job, Ryan Hunt. Beautifully done. Greatly read, Lauren. What did you think, Lauren?
Well, I really have to agree with you. The tone of this was charged with emotion, and all the stages of life were flitting through my mind's eye as we both experienced this poem as it was read. Um, it moves from a child who is obviously not on the same wavelength as the parent. And when kids grow up, there is that difficulty where you're no longer their hero. You begin to see that your parents have feet of clay, for instance. You begin to assert yourself, and that which you wish is not what the parental unit might wish for you. So there's a separation. And it's handled very well, especially like the storytelling stanzas. But all children grow up. And the night that they found the tux on sale at Macy's in Walnut Creek, that night changed your life and mine. The putting on of the tuxedo, which is a rite of passage for many young men or women, was kind of like a step into adulthood, and with the parent helping the child and perhaps standing back and seeing what was a child, now a man, that gets reflected in the way you handle the moment. The child can appreciate that as well, and then they look at themselves in the mirror and they realize, wow, I I have grown up, and maybe what my father or mother is saying isn't quite as stupid as it was. And after that, we were able to talk and talk, and time wasn't as dense as it was prior. It's such a moving poem because you start off with a child, you move into adulthood, and yet it finishes with him saying, "Yet I still remember carrying you on my shoulders." Very moving, very good piece.
Absolutely. Beautiful comment, Lauren. Thanks so much. And a fantastic read as well. Okay, so we have a poem called Washing Day by Arentz. All the clothes are clean and dry. The line holds only light. The wind forgets what color was and rests inside the white. No worries here, not for today. I fold the world to put away. End poem. And your thoughts, Lauren?
All the clothes are clean and dry. They should stay that way all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The line holds only light, the light of the colors that once was, and yet the wind forgets what color was and rests inside the white. I'm assuming that it was white day for the washing, and there were no colors, perhaps. But I fold the world to put away. In a way, clothing drying on the line is so indicative of an entire world, that world of cooking, cleaning, etc. But no worries here, not for today. I fold the world to put away. Yeah, almost like that is her world, and she puts them away. Or perhaps I'm misinterpreting it. I don't know. But washing day is a separate day in a separate world. Fold it, you put the stuff away. Nicely done.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Lawrence. Fantastic comment. But yeah, I mean, this right is clean and wrinkle free, in my humble opinion. um,
Nice.
you know, yeah. I thought it was a great little brevity. I mean, who uses laundry lines anymore? Not too many people, unless maybe in the country, because I think a lot of cities have them banned. They don't want uh, the look of clothes hanging on the line in their city. It's kind of like in a lot of parts of the state, you're not allowed to collect rainwater because that rainwater belongs to the government. So I'm thinking maybe it's the same with sunshine. You got to pay for your sunshine. I don't know. But yeah, you don't see a lot of clotheslines out anymore in today's modern world. But fantastic, right, Lawrence? And yeah, it was a pleasure to read that. All right, Lawrence, you are up next, if you wouldn't mind, please. You have Different by Jack Tomkovic.
Oh, it's a pleasure to read Jack's work. Different. It's such a different life. This widowerhoodness thing hits like a hammer blow, hard like planks of wood, and way too quiet. I hear tiny mice creeping down the hallway, hear ants walking up the brick fireplace. Dust bunnies under the table sound like a buffalo herd. A solitary roach in the corner sounds like multiple deer. Coming off the 18th green, I reach for the cell phone to call her, begin to dial. Oh, end poem.
Fantastic read, Lawrence. But I mean, it seems so lighthearted and airy. I don't know. There's something about it that it doesn't seem like it carries the weight until that last line where it says, "Coming off the 18th green, I reach for the cell phone to call her, begin to dial." So yeah, I mean that's got to be hard to lose your life partner. Um, you'd be a widower. I mean, my condolences to him. My sincerest condolences to him um, for his loss. It the emptiness has got to be palpable, uh, and everything is magnified in that empty house. Solitary roach in the corner sounds like multiple deer. That's heart wrenching for sure. The loneliness, the emptiness is palpable, but it was thoroughly engaging poem though. Yeah, beautifully done. And what did you think, Lauren?
I really liked it. Um, Jack introduces us to the the fact that this person is now a widower, this widower hood nest thing. I like the way he did that. It hits like a hammer blow, and silence is sometimes extraordinarily loud. And in the hustle and bustle of a house where people are living and there's the daily activities, perhaps the radio is on, water's going in the sink, someone's doing the dishes. All the small sounds that a house and the people within it make are a level of noise that disappears when there's only you, and you begin to hear things that you never heard before because you weren't listening for them, or because the noises of a family, the noises of life, covered up the small noises that loneliness brings. I thought he handled it really, really well. Loved the ending. Excellent piece.
Absolute wonderful comment, Lord. Thank you so much. And you said she's gonna try again, so see if she's on here. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. No, not yet. All right, so I posted the next poem, and this is called "Entwined" by E.L. Laird. Rhiannon, quick nymph, tell me a story. Teach me to speak to the trees. Magic may be a secret, gone for the telling, but language she needs to breathe. Do the beeches creak or grumble? I'm sure the pines are rustling whispers, and the willow, old weeper, is sighing near the oak, who admits in a moon that times they're always a changin'. The sapling soon will be grown. Rhiannon, sweet girl, I'll join you near the babbling river that full together we'll sing to the ancients within us. Their knowledge will pool. In time, our ankles will lengthen, earth hungry, plunge into the ground. Our bodies, amber and gleaming, will reach barked clothes, sky bound. Rhiannon, dear Rowan, do you remember all that we used to be? Bows tangled, boughs tangled, roots curled together, weave our tale in the language of trees. End poem. What did you think about that poem, Lord?
I'm just thinking to myself how bloody wonderful it was. First of all, you read it very well. And who doesn't want to think about the sentience, perhaps, of trees, the world that they live in? And here we have a plea: Rhiannon, quick nymph, tell me a story. Teach me to speak to the trees. Magic may be a secret, gone for the telling, but language she needs to breathe. Language does, especially when it's spoken by trees, and the ways in which she postulates that trees might communicate by creaking or grumbling or rustling or sighing and moaning. The natural sounds of trees are the language of trees. The the last stanza where he speaks of boughs tangled, roots curled together, weaving the tale, the language of trees, is a really good ending. It kind of opens the possibility, very convincingly, I think, that there is a sentience to trees and that we can speak to them if only we could remember. Great piece. All set, Gray, with us? Are you on mute, my friend? Or have you vanished
I'm
from the
not.
mute?
I'm not. I'm here.
All right.
Hello?
Wasn't hearing anything.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. But yeah, it's always fascinated me that an entire forest can originate from tree, um, because their roots spread and other trees, you know, um, it just spread so far and vast that one tree can start a forest. Like clonal colonies through vegetative.
Cut out on me again. I don't know if it's just me or everyone is experiencing the lack of your voice right now. But I am not hearing you at all, Greg. I don't know whether you have to get in or.
Okay, I'm gonna have to call back.
All right, do you want me to read something while you're gone?
Sure, if you don't mind reading the next poem on the list, that would be great.
I will do that.
All right, thank you.
Yep. I think the next one is this poem by T. Manzano, if I'm not mistaken. And it is called Bristle by T. Manzano. A decade of grit thinned the straw, ends bleached pale by the friction of an angry floor. Splinters scraped against the aggregate until the spine snapped and the tool was traded for the bin. Now the handle, grayed and slick with use, fights the lid, a stubborn limb refusing to lie flush. It waits for the truck's loud mechanical swallow to turn a 10-year witness into discard. In the author's notes, a broom is seldomly revealed, reveled for its service. Are we not all the broom? That was very clever. A lot of times, yeah. Okay, go ahead, Greg.
Oh, great comment, Lauren, and an excellent read. I'd like to welcome Agrisman to the show. Hello, Agrisman. We can't hear you, Agrisman. He's gone.
That's a pity. I haven't heard from him in a long time.
I know, right? Yeah, I was looking forward to it. But yeah, I mean, a decade of grit-thinned straw ends bleached pale by the friction of an angry floor. Splinters scraped against the aggregate until the spine snapped, and the tool was traded for the bin. Um, a broom is it is seldomly reveled for its service. I mean, what would life be? It would be a big mess without brooms, quite honestly. The hair, the dust, the dirt that builds up on our floors could be profound. I mean, we'd be all walking in 3 inches of dirt and dust if we didn't have brooms. I mean, I know that people vacuum their floors now, but brooms were the original vacuum, I think. Uh, the cleanup crew, really. Um, every broom deserves its day for sure. Uh, what did you think of the poem, Lawrence?
I really liked it. I mean, look, yes, we have vacuum cleaners, but sometimes there is no substitute for a broom whatsoever. It's going to get into corners that the vacuum can't get into. It's going to dislodge dirt with the spiky um, tips of the straw, and is bleached pale by the friction of an angry floor. That was really nicely done. And besides, what would witches ride if we had no brooms?
Great. Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Great read as well, Lawrence. Alrighty, so I'm gonna grab the next poem here.
Can you hear me now?
All
We
right.
can, yes. Welcome to the show.
Too many crickets.
Good to hear your voice.
Technology, man. Don't you love it?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to hook up my mom's phone so that she can upload photos to the computer. It's been a nightmare. So I got to go back to doing that after the show.
I got you.
But yeah, I'm just looking for your poem in the list here. Hagersman. Hagersman, yeah. Do you need to read right away?
No, I don't need to read right away. I mean, I've been listening all the way for the last 40 minutes trying to get.
Right. Alrighty. I'm going to post the next poem in the group. If you wouldn't mind giving us a read, please, Hagersman.
All right.
All right. Sinel Poetry. I mean, sorry, late night.
Is it in shows share Google?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's called Phobo by Mel is Carmela. Demurely dressed Diva Dora does emit a peaceful aura. Her sweater is black angora while wearing a large fedora. She appears rather seductive, but she isn't. She's productive. Her reasoning is deductive. In all she does, she's constructive. With a match, she comes to dine at a restaurant called Alpine, located on the River Rhine. She's waiting with a glass of wine for a date, but he's a bit late. 'Twas for 6, but it's almost 8. There's no reason to hesitate. She rises, leaving it to fate. Why he was late, she'll never know. All she knows is he didn't show. The only way that she can grow. No more blind dating, a faux beau.
Fantastic read.
I love it,
Hagersman, great
man.
read.
It's got a nice rhyme to it. It's got a good cadence to it, and it's like, what happens when you go on like a internet date. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, she's no more waiting for a faux beau. Love it.
Thank you so much. You did a great read of that, Hagersman. And Lauren, what did you think?
I can almost believe that the phrase "phobo" is what started the whole poem, because it's got a very nice ring to it. Obviously, "phobo," and that kind of extended into the rhyme scheme that this has: A B B B B C C C C, etc. You kind of carried that theme through, and it has a quiet humor to it, almost a slight raised eyebrow at the end when she just decides that, well, all I know is that he didn't show. And the only way I can avoid this is to avoid these false dates that that the computer generates, and therefore no blind dating a phobo. I thought it was very clever and entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought so too. Great comment, Lauren. But I like the way she captured the image. This woman seems prime and proper, and she appears to others seductive, but she isn't. She's productive. Her reasoning is deductive, and all she does, she's constructive. And then the ending is why he was late. She'll never know. All she knows is that he didn't show, and the only way that she can grow, no more blind dating. A full. I liked it. I like the use of rhyme scheme. It was well done by Carmela M. Patterson, aka Mel is Carmela. Beautifully done, and congratulations on your front page pick as well. Um, yeah, it was fantastic throughout. Alrighty, so I'm gonna grab the next poem here, and that brings us to oh shoot, we have a lack of respect by Gary Rubin. I'll post this to the group and there's a SoundCloud for this. you wouldn't mind, please, Phil. Hello, Phil, may I?
Sickened by a lack of respect by Gary Rubin. A muted gray sunrise limps through blurred cloudy skies, like a rigid arthritic old man who shuffles to his mailbox, hoping to find an emaciated thin Social Security check. Inside his home are bare cupboards and
Just went
prescription
silent, or is it
meds
me?
unfilled.
Sorry?
All of the loose change that fell like rain between couch cushions evaporated into a parched, drought-stricken landscape. Every piece of scrap metal has been sold off. Robber barons have stolen everything but his dignity. He's a junk car stripped of its parts, the remaining shell propped up on cinder blocks. With his government check in hand, he walks to town center. It's a battle of baton death march. There aren't enough bank tellers. Nearly spent, he stands in a long line while VIP business customers are hustled through. People offer hollow praise, thanking old soldiers for their service. This last remaining member of the greatest generation left to die, trampled by the democracy that forgot about him and the callously blind throngs who rush by.
Oh, great read. What did you think, Lawrence?
Yeah, I thought I had heard a Gressman ask, "Is it on or is it just me?" And then I didn't hear him again. But there are times I do not hear the particular SoundCloud for one reason or another. I don't know what it is. And the only reason I'm mentioning it now is that if he's listening, it wasn't him. And if you're gone, come back.
No, I'm here. I just
Okay.
didn't want to. I didn't know if it started or what. It's just like all of a sudden it just showed up.
All right. So, okay, good. Because there are times I can't hear the whole SoundCloud. This one I heard. This really hits home, to me at any rate. The phrase, an emaciated, thin Social Security check, just reinforces the slight thread that maintains us in life. Because for many, if you don't have Social Security, you have nothing. And for that to be threatened in this day and age is beyond reprehensible. And the second stanza, where the loose change that feel like rain between couch cushions, um, also is a very poignant truth. When you're short on money and you have nothing, you start digging for the change. You begin to sell off your scrap metal. And the phrase is a junk car stripped of its parts, the remaining shell propped up on cinder blocks, gives us a perfect metaphor, a perfect analog of what it's like to be in that condition. And of course, when you're old and thin and don't have the image you had as a young man and don't have the body, but people may recognize you as an old soldier, but it's hollow praise after a while. This poem was emotional to me and probably to anybody who reads it. Excellent work.
I guess I'm the only one left. It's me and you is showing on here on the what my screen shows. I liked it because we don't give enough respect still to the people that came before us, I think, and the sacrifices they made, even though we do have Memorial Day and we have the Veterans Day. But when you truly look at it, those are just days. I mean, the respect that we should be given is a lot more than we've been given to them. And I understand all about Social Security because I'm going to go in about 3 or 4 more years and I'm going to have to rely on it. And now a lot of people are worried about it. And I thought the poem was hit home a lot to me personally. So I appreciated it.
Great comment. Thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, I think it's sad what veterans have to suffer through. It's almost like they're being shamed and embarrassed to be a veteran, somebody who fought for their country, fought for the rights and the freedoms of Americans, and um, they're just thrown to the side and left to die, trampled by the democracy that forgot about them and callously blind throngs who rush by. You know, it's sad, but it's true. I mean, look what the Vietnam soldiers came home to. You know, they were shunned and ridiculed, and for what? For fighting for their country, for the freedoms that you know, for the freedom to call these people down. It's wow, hard hitting for sure.
May I add very briefly? This is a guy I saw this on YouTube. There's a guy who, when he finds himself in the grocery store line, and if he sees an older person who he thinks may be a vet, and they ain't got too much on the counter, he'll go ahead and hand the cashier his card and pay for the man or woman. I just thought that was a great way of showing a little appreciation for veterans.
Absolutely, yeah. There definitely needs to be a lot more of that for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, Lawrence. All right, so up next we have T Manzano, and he brings us Less of You. Goes like this. The second hand, pressed to your skull, clicks. Not outside. You say it's nothing, but it slips through the ear, finds a seam that wasn't there. Tick. Something gives behind the eye. A soft place catches, pulls. Tick. You go still, like it might pass if you don't. It doesn't. A cut. No edge, just the feeling of it opening. Tick. Your thoughts, they start and come back wrong. You taste it. Metal. Like biting your tongue when you were a kid and pretending it didn't hurt. Tick. The watch keeps time inside you, chewing slow, measuring smaller, taking what resists. Carefully, you press your chest. Tick. But it isn't for you. Parts of you go quiet. When it stops, the space stays, and your body refuses to fill it. It was counting until there was less of you to take. End poem. And it's listed under anxiety, fear, loathsome foreboding is a force. Wow. What did you think, Lauren?
Well, I guess you could say that foreboding makes you an anxious person, and if you're suffering anxiety, boy, is this poem apt. Using the tick to denote the passage of time is well done. Um, I'm not sure I would pick out a thing to read because it isn't that kind of a poem, but I refuse to not. I like it. Parts of you go quiet. When it stops, the space stays, and your body refuses to fill it. Wow. This is a really superb piece.
Thank you so much, Lauren. And Gressman, what did you think?
Well, I understand what the person's going through. It's anxiety that you feel is pressing down on you. You feel, and when he says loathsome, that means you have a lot of self doubt in you. And I have had that for many years, and I understand what they're going through. It's like the time that you're counting down is the time that you can just be by yourself again, and that time and space that they're talking about is that space that from other people. And I know that sounds weird, but that's how I feel sometimes, is that I feel like I want to be out there and I want to be with people, but sometimes it's the anxiety of being with people that can cause me grief, because you have to be on, and then you have to be imaginative, you have to be that whole cycle of feeling, and you get anxious about it just being around it. I understand it very much. So I really thought the poem was, it said a lot with just a little bit of words, and I like the way they structured it and made it like each one of them add on to each other. I loved it. It was really good.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic comment. Thank you so much, Eggerson. And you know, like I really enjoyed the tick, tick, tick. You know, like the clock is marching, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Um, and then when it does stop, the space stays, and your body refuses to fill it. It was counting until there was less of you to take. Wow, what a hard hitting right. You know, uh, anxiety is a tough subject to broach, although it was done with a marked passage. So beautifully done. Thank you so much for sharing that with me, Manzano. Okay, Lord, I have the next poem up if you wouldn't mind reading it, please. It's called Self Awareness, It's a Game of Life by Marianne Kilmer.
All right. Give me 1 second to find it. There we go. Self awareness, the game of life. Chiara Cat played peekaboo with me the other day. She leapt into the bathtub, then peered at me, meaningfully, from behind the shower curtain. She strolled out into full view, then ducked behind it for just a minute, peeking out at me again, briefly, her playful eyes aglow. Then she came out once more, but ducked her chin, nose, and eyes just below the edge of the tub, her ears showing pointedly above it, repeatedly. It was like a little child who sees the world only from her own point of view. When she couldn't see me, obviously, she was invisible. The line between humanity and other animals grows thinner by the hour. Tool users, tool makers, obviously self aware, dolphins, chimps, gorillas, dogs and cats, pigs and rats. We must observe respectfully, without prejudice, and with profound humility, our sibling creatures. End poem. Booyah.
Beautiful read. Beautiful read, Lauren. And what did you think, Eggerson?
Well, I understand that because the way she was describing, I have three cats of my own, and they are all have different personalities, and they can communicate differently to me. And I understand that we are the stewards of animals. God put us on this planet to be caretakers to animals as well. And it always gets me that how people can be cruel to animals. I don't understand it. I never will. And I think what we have to understand, and I love the way that she subtly puts it, is that they're on this planet with us, and everything in this whole world is put here for a reason. And even though we don't like some of the things that we have there, it's here for a reason, and it's one design and from divinity. I think that's just my personal opinion, but it's interesting is that when she says the cat thought she was invisible because he couldn't see her, and I think that's just so fun, and I love this poem. It was well done.
Beautiful comment. Thanks so much, Eggerson. Yeah, you know, I really enjoyed the poem too. You can actually see the cat with its head thinking nobody can see it because it's hiding. Um, I thought it was great. You know, I always try to reach out to kind of all animals, really birds, squirrels, chipmunks, rabbits. I don't care. I'm always talking to animals and trying to connect with them in some way or another. And I think most of all, I've connected with crows just because I don't know what it is, but I seem to have an affinity for crows. I've got a poem called Oscar, and it was about a little bird that watched me from its nest as I built a deck below its tree. And on its first flight out of the nest, it flew to the railing of the job site I was working at. I was at the end of the driveway having my lunch, and it flew and landed on my arm. So I managed to capture a picture of it on my arm and post it with the poem. And so, I mean, I don't know whether they're sentient or not, but they definitely are capable of connecting. So, beautiful job, Miriam. Thanks so much for sharing. All right. Up next, we have A Better Man song lyrics by Budo. If you wouldn't mind, please, Phil.
I had a dream of 1,000 souls on fire, screaming pleas for a better life than seen. Asking peace in a war on calamity, asking this from you and from me. It would take a man of honesty to break the chains of bondage and set us free. It would take a better man than me. It would take a better man than me. All the memories of past transgressions felt, my future lives of thoughts that now reflect. How can we do what is right in times like these, and pave the way to a brighter light to see? It would take a man of honesty to break the chains of bondage and set us free. It would take a better man than me. It would take a better man than me. I had a dream of 1,000 souls on fire, screaming pleas for a better life than seen, asking peace in a war on calamity, asking this from you and from me.
Nicely done. Lauren, what are your thoughts?
Wow, this brings me right back. This could have been back in the 60s or 70s, huh? It would take a man of honesty to break the chains of bondage and set us free. I thought this is a very moving tribute song to Rush. It has the tone and lyrical qualities of the original artists, and the sentiments expressed could be my own. Well done.
Beautifully said, Lauren. Thanks so much. And Agerson, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think he's already what I wrote on here is maybe not. It takes a better man than you because you're writing about it and you're also articulating about being a better person by being honest with other people and breaking the chains. It would be a better man than me, but I think the question is, how can we all be better? All the memories of past transitions felt by future lives of thoughts that we now reflect. I think it's hard for people, a lot of people, to forget past transgressions, and that happens with a lot of people. We all have biases, and they get our way of making sense of the world, if you know what I mean. We always consider those things that happened to us in the past, and they always come back and bite us, and you know what, that took us, and those type of things. We need to understand that we're all on this planet. We're all here. We're all together, and we shouldn't be taking it out on others. And I really like the song, and I'm a big Rush fan, so I understand that aspect of it too. There's no better album, I think, than 2112. I'm just biased. Once again, that's the word that comes in. But I love the song, and he did a great job.
Beautiful comment. Thanks so much. Yeah, I really liked it as well. Where are we as human beings? We need to step up and drag ourselves out of the crap that we're in, and embrace the life and the light that we have. Make things better for ourselves and others along the way. Don't just trample people as you go. Take a minute, look around, help your brother man along the way. Um, Life's hard. A little bit of effort from one another to one another can greatly improve the world, I think. Beautiful message, Buddha. And Lauren Yvonne, I've got your poem up next called The Ape in Me. If you wouldn't mind, please.
All right. The ape in me, perverse. I am perverse in my verse and doggerel, unshuttering the plain mind, untutored, stripping away convention, casting it aside by the testes if need be. Hew wood savagely, leave the measured strokes to monks. I hang on barbed wire, stretching a bloodless flesh into the shape I want. I mean, if it was enough for Jesus, I'll hang a bit longer. Must be the ape in me. End poem.
Would you mind reading your author's notes?
We're all hanging in there, surviving the New World Order.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Lauren. And Agerson, what did you think?
Well, I like the ending because if it was enough for Jesus, I'll hang in a little bit better, longer. Must be the ape in me. I think we all have to have patience, and I think in a way that's what the poem to me what it means. I may be and my verse and doggerel, unshuttering the plain mind, untutored, stripping away convention, casting it aside by the tastes, if need be, new wood savagely. I love it. I love the phrasing, and I love the making me think. And I'd probably have to read it another couple times to get exactly what I can get out of it. But just hearing you read it makes me think that you're trying to tell everybody that, hey, yes, it's going to be brutal. It could be brutal, and it keeps on giving that gift. But if Jesus can hang in there and take what he did, then we can do it too. So I really appreciate the poem. Very good.
Thank you, my friend.
Beautiful, beautiful comment. You know, I really liked it, Lauren. Y- in this modern world, there's so much going on, so much shit whirling around us at all times that you know you do feel like you're hanging on barbed wire stretched to bloodless flesh into the shape you want. It's hard to remain who we are when everything's cutting into us and trying to slice us apart. Uh, you know, our minds need to be guarded. We're just so caught up on what happens on TikTok and YouTube that we ignore what's going on in our own world. And this modern world's a bitch, so you got to do your best to get through it. But I really enjoyed in this modern world, perverse. I am perverse in my verse and doggerel. I had to Google doggerel, and I like that. It's a poetry kind of description, and so I learned something from you, which is always great. I love learning new stuff. But it was a fantastic write, Lauren, and a beautiful read. Would you like to say anything about your poem?
Well, what popped into my head was I was cursing myself for something, and I says, "You're perverse." All of a sudden, it felt like there might be something there because perverse is, it doesn't necessarily mean evil and twisted. It can also mean contrary, a contrarian. So if I'm perverse in my verse and doggerel, in the way that I speak, and in seeking to find a plain mind, untutored, someone who hasn't been spoiled by exactly what you mentioned, the internet and all of that. That sometimes, in order to succeed, you have to strip away convention. You have to stop doing what you've been doing and throw it aside, even if it hurts. Right? Cast it aside by the balls if need be. And if you're going to hew wood, if you're going to do what you want to do, then do it savagely, do it strongly. Don't leave anything behind. Leave the measured strokes to monks. And, hanging on barbed wire, well, it's a metaphor, of course, for being in a difficult situation, needing to be patient. I mean, and if Jesus was patient enough to change the world, then you should be patient enough as well. And it must be the ape in me just kind of popped into my head. It seemed to fit.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Beautifully done, though, Lauren. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so I've got the next poem up. If you wouldn't mind giving that a read, please, Aggersman. It's it is called. Oh shit! Do I have it up yet? I think I do.
There you go. I didn't see it.
Okay, sorry, I gotta paste it to the group. All right, so this is called "Popularity" by Laurent Montagnier.
All
Whenever you're
right.
ready.
Popularity by Laurent Montagnier. There are so many idols that are worshipped in the form of statues or persons that are a blind representation of the world. Idols of these natures are what seem to captivate us, but they are nothing more than a mere illusion that some easily are fixated with their influence. It is an attempt to follow in the footsteps of something or someone famous and to believe that we can be famous as well. That is the thought of an idealist, not a realist. There is nothing wrong or immoral to aspire to be relevant in life. It is not the conviction that I question. Instead, it is the idea espoused to the first place. Fame can be something that appears to last forever, or it can last for 15 minutes. Either way, it will only get you as far as a cheap tabloid. People seek prestige in things that result in pure rubbish. Regrettably for society, it is more of a proven fact than front page gossip. Life is not about imitating the acts of brazen fools that deem themselves popular. It is more about learning about how to live life, not to ruin it. Too much time is wasted in the search for senseless adoration. We should concern ourselves more with living than being popular. Popularity is for the fool's game, for the truth or dare. In the end, no one really wins because popularity will never measure one's character. Only a daring fool forsakes virtue for a whim that will lead him to confront the face of an illusion that will bear witness to a lie.
Beautifully read, Hagersman. And Lauren, what did you think? Oh, he's gone. Good night, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. But you know, I like it. I think it's a good poke at what modern man's become. We all seek to be um, the top of the totem pole, even though that's held up by everything below it. You know, um, it's a lonely place at the top, and being the most popular person in the room isn't necessarily a blessing. I think sometimes it's a curse. Um, but fame can be something that appears to last forever, or it can last for 15 minutes. Either way, it will only get you as far as cheap tabloid. Yeah, excellent, right? I like his statement on popularity. It's well received. And what did you think, Aggersman?
Well, I've written something similar to this because, a lot of people try to, I don't know, they try to say, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me. And where does it always get them? It gets them in trouble. And they try to do these things on TikTok, whatever it is. And the people that I think the biggest people that I think I find like I admire are the people that go about life in a way that helps others more so than being somebody that's a celebrity. And there's people that are celebrities that do help others and don't ask for anything from it and don't try to do it for the camera. And those are the true celebrities. I think like Paul Newman was one of them. There's been a couple others that have done things that have been great and not wanting people really to know what they do. So Shaq is another example. He goes and buys toys for kids without and he posts them out and doesn't take any doesn't want anything from it. So to me, it's like fame is fleeting, but being a person that cares is always going to be something that's unique and awesome. So I really enjoyed the poem. Uh-oh. Did I lose myself? Uh-oh. Did you hear me?
I hear you, Chris.
Okay. I was like, I'm
I don't know where Gray went.
I'm
I'm
talking
here.
to a hole.
Well, you weren't answering right, Chris, so I didn't think you were.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was answering. It just wasn't picking me up.
Oh,
Hello, Phil.
hello. How are you?
Hi. I'm good, thank you. Good
Good.
to hear your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Thank you very much. It's good to hear yours. Absolutely. So, what is up? Where are we going, Gray?
Um. All right, hold on one second here while I get back to the group uh, poetry page. All right. So we have April 27th, 2026. This is a poem by Ursula Macabre. I'll post this to the group. Since you're here, Fill My Eyes, would you read that?
Sure. Give me a second. I have to
Thank
put.
you.
I got to do my side of the job. Okay. Give me a second. Hopefully, this is it. Yes. Okay, April 27th, 2026, by Ursula McCabe. Shepherd's hook has entangled one dogwood branch, the one that dipped low with spring rains. Now dry, the limb poses right in front of my window. I will go out and free the pink cascade. The tree needs to move with the breeze. All of it. End poem.
All right. Would you mind reading the author's notes, please, and thank you?
A 45 word count for the 27th day of April. While many of my daily poems this month have been sparse, I've enjoyed writing. Come August, I may do the Seeley Chain Challenge as well. That is where you read a volume of poetry every day in August. I change to read larger books in 3 days or so. It means plenty of skimming, but still a rich endeavor. Or I may not.
Yes, thank you so much, Phil. And Agnes, I mean, what did you think of the poem?
I'm picturing the whole branch in the water and in the spring rains. It gives me an idea of like I'm like down on the river and I'm looking out and it's I'm getting this sense of that the the limb is holding down a little bit lower than it should be, so I'm going to pick it up a little bit and take it to where it can start swinging and breeze again. I think it's awesome imagery. Very well done.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. I thought the imagery was great too. Um, but you did a beautiful job of reading this, Phil. But I will go out and free the pink cascade. Tree needs to move with the breeze, all of it. Um, I don't know what the pink cascade is, but it definitely needs to be removed so that the tree can move. And I thought it was great, right? What did you think, Phil? My eyes.
I thought this was a great brevity. Absolutely. The pink cascade, I assume, Gray, is the pink dogwood, the flowers
Oh,
on the
okay.
dogwood tree. So she had to free that so it could sway in the breeze. I think the imagery was wonderful. Um, the wording was great and very well done. So thank you, Ursula. Very good job. Well done.
Beautiful comment, Phil. My eyes. Alrighty, so let me grab the next poem here. Do, 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 do. All right. So up next we have Poems by Jonah. And I'll paste this into the group. And when you see the Daggersman, can you give this a read, please?
Sure.
There we go.
All right, let's go here. The Man by the Water by Poems by Johnner. A stranger asked me to hold her hand. I did as she said, closed my eyes, and there he was, a man by the riverbank, dressed in a suit, his polished shoes stained with mud. He gestured to the water, to the small patch of thyme growing at the edge of the stream. He smiled at me, opened his mouth, but a bird croaked, and nothing came out.
Wow. Interesting, right? What did you think, Bill My Eyes?
Well, I'm going to have to ask you to go first because I'm a little behind here now. Because now I'm doing comments and
Okay.
I have to post the link. So
All
I'll,
right.
I'll be ready in a minute or two. Thanks.
Uh, yeah, absolutely. Um, she has a description of where the poem came from. Um, Uh, so a few years ago, I attended a weekend retreat in the countryside. One afternoon, we were asked to pair up with someone we didn't know well. I ended up sitting next to a woman I'd never met before. The exercise was simple: hold the other person's hand, close your eyes, and see if anything or anyone came forward with a message. It sounds strange written out like that, but the room was quiet in the afternoon sun, and everyone took it seriously. I remember the warmth of her hand, the hush that fell over the group, and the way my mind seemed to tip into a different kind of attention, half imagination, half listening. So this is where the poem came from. When I opened my eyes, I could still picture him clearly. Black hair, strong build, dressed up, standing there by the river as if he'd come from somewhere else and stepped into the wrong landscape. But it's basically her having a moment in time with somebody um, whose hand she took, and this person came into her view. This man appeared out of nowhere, and when he opened his mouth, birds chirps came out. Um, so I thought it was fantastic, right? Really, I mean, I'm glad she gave you a background to the poem in her author's notes as well. So, or sorry, in her comments down below. But yeah, so feel free to check those out. This is poems by Jonna, and she did a beautiful job with it. But I mean, how creepy is that? He smiled at me, opened his mouth, but a bird croaked and nothing came out. Wow, interesting. Interesting, right? For sure. Very psychedelic uh, and mind-boggling, really. What did you think, Agrisman?
Well, they have what's called remote viewing that some people can do it. Supposedly, I don't know what that means. Like you can view like a place that you've never been before, and you can see in through somebody's other's eyes. And to me, that's like what she was doing is that she was viewing in this river picture or wherever that he was at, that he was remotely viewing it. It's weird. I mean, I love it. I kind of understand it a little bit more when you gave that more description.
Right, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful comment. Thanks so much, Agrisman. Um, but yeah, Jonna did a fabulous job with that. Right. And Fill My Eyes, what did you think?
I thought this was another great piece. It reminds me of her drawing on the memories of that other person whose hand she was holding. And I think it was well done and well penned. And he had me really confused, Greg, because I don't have any author's notes on this page. So I was like, where is he getting this from? So I hope you're happy that you confused me. Oh, no, but wonderfully done. So thank you, Jonna, for sharing with us.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your front page pick as well. Alrighty, that said, we have a poem by Collab called They Finally Come Home. Faces to the group. And if you wouldn't mind reading this, Phil, that would be wonderful.
Sure. I just have to find
Should be
it.
there now.
Okay, give me a minute. If I don't post these links, my boss will fire me. Okay. They Finally Come Home by Colette. When the last frozen breeze abates and the sun eventually points its nose from its lair, March blooms will begin to carpet manicured lawns, daffodils and narcissus dot clearings. Then you could clearly hear the church bells of San Juan Capistrano ring under the stone eaves, where two lovers embrace overhearing the fronds of a lonely palm rest, then pause looking up when the line of swallows moves in their direction. The young lovers whisper in amazement, there they are, they've finally come. It's a good omen for us. And together they utter, Amen in unison. End poem.
Beautiful read, Phil. But I enjoyed this. Right, you can picture the swallows, as they fly in from wherever they were for the winter, and they're back home for summer. Um, yeah, I thought it was beautiful throughout. So excellent job, Collab. Been a beautiful read, Fill My Eyes. And your thoughts, Agrisman?
I, if you've ever been in those situations when they Capistrano swallows, it's like an awesome sight, but it's also kind of terrifying in a way. I think when they write March blooms will begin to carpet manicure laws, daffodils, and narcissus dot clearings, then you could clearly hear the church bells from San Juan Capistrano ring under the stone eaves. That I think of the sunset when the birds are coming over the hills there, and it's so beautiful. And she's taking me back to that. It's a beautiful sight to see all these birds just coming through, and I think the young lovers were happy because they thought it meant that it meant a good omen for them, and together they utter amen in unison. And it can be a good omen because it's not, it happens, you know, at a certain time, and then you won't see it again for a long time after that because they go away. So I enjoyed the poem very much. It brought me back to that time I saw it happen. Very nice.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks so much. I'm trying to find your poem on the list, Agrisman. There it is. All right, I got it. Fine. I'm gonna post your poem next. And whenever you're ready, would you mind giving your poem a
Oh,
read, please?
sure. Let me, I'm just adding a comment here.
Yeah,
All
I've
right.
been there.
Let's go here. And it's interesting. It got front page pick. I mean, I think this is a ways old, and it was for Boston when she had her show, and she had the anthem by Leonard Cohen lyrics, and this inspired me for that. I thought back, and so this is called Late Night Anthem, and it's from me, Dressman. Okay, let's go. I fade like television tubes of the 60s when turned off at midnight, just before the national anthem played. Deluded dreams of amber waves slanted by the screams. A flash that zeroes to oblivion and pinpoints the center of where the darkness is. The buzzing of the bulbs, the crackle from the warmth, and the suddenness of it all. Watching till the click signals off, and I'm left to my expectations of whether I want another day or not.
Beautiful read. Thank you so much, Agrisman. And Fill My Eyes, what did you think?
1 second. Yeah, I think this was a great piece, Gus. You know, a nice take on the prompt poem by Leonard Cohen. I don't know who Anthony Cohen is, but I almost gave him kudos. Uh, wow. You know, I fade like television tubes of the 60s when turned off at midnight, just before a national anthem played. Yeah, you know, I mean, I can relate to that. You know, I remember those days. Um, you know, I think that the imagery in this is good. I think your points are well done. You know, a flash that zeroes to oblivion and pinpoints the center of where the darkness is. You know, because we used to turn off the TV, everything used to shoot to the center, didn't it? Right, or Russ, right to that little dot in the middle.
Yep, I
Boy,
remember it well.
all gone. You know, yeah. It's hard to remember those things, but you definitely uh, captured it there. The buzzing of the bulbs, the crackle from the warmth, and the suddenness of it all. Yeah, that crackle. Yeah, amazing. Um, Watching till the click signals off, and I'm left to my expectations of whether I want another day or not. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that's a more personal, uh,
Oh yeah.
more personal lines at the end. You know, it's like, do I feel like doing this again? You know, but definitely nicely done and well written. So thanks for sharing this. That's funny. It's funny you got a front page pick, as you said, because it is an older piece. You know, I think I saw 2017. You
Yeah.
know, that's a long time, but
I
that's
don't know
okay.
how he. I don't know how they pick them.
You know, somebody probably went through your stuff and saw something they liked and put it up. But I like it. I do. And congrats on the front page pick. Nice job.
Yeah, normally they tell you who picked it. I don't know. From page pick. Uh,
Never tells me. I always
no,
have to go and say, who did that?
I know, right? I think
Yeah,
it used to tell you it was front page pick by, and it
yeah.
would tell you, but that's gone now,
They
apparently.
like us in the dark.
Yeah, for sure. Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Isn't that the way?
Ah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to grab the next poem here. Alrighty, sorry. Collab. All right, so, oh, you were right after that poem anyway. Perfect. All right. So up next we've got Rebecca Chuck, and he brings us Had You Met Them? I'll post this to the group and I'll give this a read. Had You Met Them by Vakachuk. Had you met them? John and Anna? Yes, the white clapboard place on the left corner. Everyone called her Anna, but she was born Anastasia. Don't you know, that woman sure did love her hanging flower baskets, pansies during the winter, petunias with marigolds and nasturtiums, hanging beauty all summer long. She was she always planted them in the deep baskets. She said the petunias didn't do August well in the shallow ones. There always seemed to be 3 or 4 hummingbird feeders hanging from the rafters. Anna said the children loved them. Seemed there was always a herd of kids playing, laughing with their grandchildren on that shaded, deep front porch of theirs, playing old maid, sorry, pick-up sticks, Monopoly, or chutes and ladders. Cell phones were left in the basket inside the front door and picked up when they left. Calls to mom or dad, allowed only the children, did not seem to care because this is where they could laugh and be themselves. I always wondered, were the children caught in mid laughter when the wall of atomic fire reduced the home to instant ash? Bum, bum, bum.
Wow.
What did you think, Bill Mays?
Wow. The imagery and the smiles and the fun were so real all throughout this poem. And you just think it's going to end on a light note, but then you get to those last few lines. I always wondered, were the children caught in mid laughter when the wall of atomic fire reduced the home to instant ash? What a sad ending that is. And yes, it kind of breaks your heart, at the end. But wonderful imagery throughout this piece. A real twist at the end that kind of stops you in your tracks for you know the change. And I think this was very well written. So Vakachuk, nice job, um, very well done. You definitely build it up and then had it just crash in the end. And I think that was probably an intent because he did not see the poem ending when he began the poem. So what a yeah, something to catch you off guard. It's a nice job, and thanks for sharing.
Absolutely, yeah. And what did you think, Agrisman?
Oh, it's just us,
Oh,
Greg.
okay. Alrighty. But yeah, that's a powerful poem. It's just such a picturesque and idyllic scene, painted about this lovely little suburb, and then poof, it's gone. Turned to ashes. That's the power of atomic and nuclear bombs, is they have the ability to erase everything in their path right off the face of the earth. And I mean, people and houses have no ground to stand on once that wind blows their way, full of fire and devastation. So really impactful, right? Uh, Hard hitting for sure. And that was by Bakachuk. Great. Wow. Incredible. Sorry, I just got someone to write. Alrighty, so I'm going to grab the next poem here. Where, here we go. So we have Cleaning My Father's Tombstone, a poem by Robert J. Tice. And if you could read this, Phil, when you see it, please.
Mm, and so when I see it part, okay, okay. Let me see what I got to do here. Okay. Cleaning My Father's Tombstone by Robert J. Tice. While chiseled granite did its best, cementing birth and early death, and digits very legible, my father's name became more vague from the sediment of decades lost. The algae, moss, and birds pitched in, with weather mowers, insects, heat, all deepening organic greens. On stains 3 dozen seasons heaved and coalesced past memory. The key engravings held their place, those twofold crosses, then that book, whose abstruse thoughts I've yet to read, escaping frames of whittled rock, his pain and wisdom freed from time. I gently washed and wiped the face, each pass revealing thoughts and more milestones missed, things left unsaid, more closure, calmness, confidence, that then presence after absence sensed. An hour later, cleansed, released from calendars of layered grief, I stood up aching though relieved. His name, the senior of my name, gained clarity, new life, like me. End poem.
Beautiful read, fill my eyes. And wow, what a touching poem. You know, time wants to swallow everything, I think, in green. You know, it's like if you give enough time, the cities will fill with vines and trees, and you know, buildings will disappear into forests. And so the tombstone's no less that subject of being overtaken by uh, greenery and by life in general. Um, Even though it's a marker of death, you know, life will go on around it, and you know, it can affect the presence of the tombstone. And you know, you want to wash that off. You want to see clearly what is being presented to the world, representing your father. Um, I thought it was very touching, really. An hour later, cleansed, released from calendars of layered grief, I stood up, aching though relieved. His name, the senior of my name, gained clarity, new life, like me. Beautiful right, and condolences on the loss of your father. What did you think, Bill? My eyes.
I think that this was a well penned piece, and I think the imagery was really well done. Um, it wasn't overdone. It wasn't understated. It was just enough to carry it forward. And sometimes as you're doing a task like this, an hour later, cleansed, released from calendars of layered grief. You kind of you get in there, and because of the grief, you may not be there. You may not be looking at that tombstone all the time. You're just in your world outside of that, and then you go and you take it on, and you take on the project of cleaning away all the layers and the things that have built up on this tombstone. And at the same time, you're kind of working through those feelings inside, I think. Um, well, that would be me anyway. And I think that that was the intent here. Um, you know, at that very last stanza, well, no, I'll take the last two. I gently washed and wiped the face, each pass revealing thoughts and more. More milestones missed, things left unsaid. More closure, calmness, confidence. Then presence after absence sensed. An hour later, cleansed, released from calendars of layered grief, I stood up aching though relieved. His name, the senior of my name, gained clarity, new life like me. It's you're working through it at that same time as you're restoring um, the tombstone, and you kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like writing a poem that is um, cleansing. You're doing something that is taking that a bit of that off of you, that edge. um, I mean, we have cathartic rites, we have cathartic projects that we do in life, and I think that that's what I got from it. but I think it was very well written and nicely done. So thank you, Robert Tice, for sharing with us. Wonderful job.
Absolutely beautiful comment. Thanks so much, Oh My Eyes. Alrighty, so up next we have Now I Know It Does by Eric Svensson. Did you read that last one, Phil, or did I?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
All right, so Eric Svensson brings us Now I Know It Does. Wetter than wet, drenched in London by unbridled love's deluge. Dizzy snowflake flurry, scurry all around. December. Arm in arm in Piccadilly Circus on charmed bracelet. No weddings, no funerals, no infatuation. Just that insanely precarious forever a day and night rush. Red poinsettias blush with us in quaint coffee shops. Cherry tickles chills fancy, while our toes do pillow talk under the table. Lean in closer to pooled aurora borealis bright soul windows. Waltzing northern lights, blender finds, entwines two lovers. Hugh Grant suave meets Andy McDowell, chutzpah. Hot cinnamon buns become holy communion. For these are our bodies, all posh and pizzazz. Mistletoe above twinkles in tune with two timing pinprick fairy lights. Madly, deeply, steeply, crazily in love, besotted by cheeky polka dot cupcakes. Sugar and ice dissolve on our polyglot tongues. Vivian Westwood crazy as we flaunt our radiant coats of many colors, way out on limbs unreachable for mere mortals. We, Shirley MacLaine, Hugh Grant, meets Warren Beatty, and Carly Simon would say we waltz into rooms like we were walking onto yachts. Stutters and lisps, our impromptu Charleston sizzle and sleet drizzle, far flung from white rhino perplexity between our African briar and bush, flaxen wave and weave through petticoat lane, plaited long desire tresses, fancied the Tate, modern, impish wink from the guard at Buckingham Palace. Forever and a day, we still feel it in our fingers and our toes. They tingle madly, steeply, deeply, deeply, steeply seated. Sepia time has watermarked weddings and funerals. Still your face is before me, fresh and flushed, in snowflake, scurry hurry. My north, my south, my east and west, my working week and Sunday rest, my noon, my nighttime, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. Now I know it does. End poem. And your thoughts, on my eyes.
I think this was a great poem by Eric Svensson. Wonderful imagery all the way through. I think he has such a way of writing. He pulls in from so many different areas. Um, I pick it up here. Just that insanely precarious forever a day and night's rush. Red poinsettias blush with us in quaint coffee shops. Sherry tickles chills fancy, while our toes do pillow talk under the table, leaning closer to pooled aurora borealis, bright soul windows. Wonderful imagery all the way through this. And I mean, if you can't see Christmas time, I mean, or when the winter season, I mean, nobody ever will, Waltzing northern lights blender binds, entwines two lovers. Hugh Grant suave meets Andy McDowell chutzpah. Hot cinnamon buns become holy communion, for these are our bodies, all posh and pizzazz. Yeah, I think that this is just nicely done, and I love the encounter that he speaks on throughout the piece. So very well done, Eric, and yeah, thanks for sharing with us. Very, very nice piece. Nice read, Gray.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed the write. You could hear him as I read it. I don't know. He's got a way with his voice, a
Mm,
cadence that really came through in his words. Um, it's picturesque, it's engaging. You can feel the heartfelt connection between the two lovers presented. And so I thought it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Well, we are at the cusp of the 9 o'clock hour. So I'd like to say goodnight, fill my eyes. Thank you, Lord, for calling in. Thank you, Bill, for calling in. And thank you, Agrisman. It was nice to see you.
Absolutely. Okay, great. Well, it was a great show
Much
tonight. And yeah, nice poetry. And maybe next time Lou will get to stay
absolutely.
with us. That'll be good.
I know, right? One day.
She keeps trying.
One day she'll be back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, well, I hope you have a great night and a good rest of your week. And I will talk to you soon. And good night, everybody. Thank you, T.
Uh,
Manzano and Monty G and JoJo for hanging on the board. And everyone who listened on
absolutely.
YouTube and Facebook. It's always great to.
Yeah, much love, world.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.